Yeah, this is the sort of stuff I get proper excited about. So this is actually a Nissan Skyline. It's debatable whether it deserves the Skyline name, but we'll talk about that shortly. But I don't care about that. It's a unique car. It's not something you see all the time. I've just bought it off as a bit of stock of one of my subscribers. I didn't actually get to meet him, annoyingly. It arrives at the weekend. I wasn't here at the weekend. But anyway, wicked car, very unique, well deserves a video on my channel. We're going to do the usual thing today. We're going to talk about the car, talk about why it's unique, what's special about it. We're going to go for a little drive in it, and then we're going to do draggy times later on in the video. But we do 20 to 70 mile an hour draggy times on this channel, right? This car has got a speed limiter apparently at 112 kilometers an hour, so that's about 70 mile an hour. Hopefully it gets us to 70, all right? We'll work that out shortly. Let's just get on with the video. Do you know what? I can't help but get excited about this type of thing. It's unique, isn't it? And when we got offered it, my brother Jerome said to me, "Cal, we've been offered a Nissan Skyline." I was like, "Really?" I thought, "How much is it?" He says, "It's less than £5,000." I was like, "What? What is it?" And the penny dropped, and I thought, do you know what? It kind of doesn't deserve to be called a Nissan Skyline. But let me talk about what's cool about this car quickly. So it's essentially a Nissan 350Z as a four-door saloon. So they introduced the Skyline, which is what this is here. It's the 11th generation of the Nissan Skyline. So they've done 10 previous generations to this. A lot of them are the ones that we all know and love. And this particular one was offered as a saloon and a coupe. Obviously, this is a four-door saloon, which again, I think that makes it really, really unique. I think it's so cool that it's essentially a four-door saloon Nissan 350Z. They weren't offered to the UK market, so this is actually a Japanese import. It was imported in 2020. It's had, I think, 2 owners in the time that it's been in the UK, and it's obviously a 2007 car. But little things like the square number plates, front and rear. Love the fact it's got square number plates, obviously because it's Japanese. That's just a general thing over there. Over here we have rectangular plates, which you can see everywhere in the yard here at Binker. So yeah, it's very, very cool. But the fact that it's called a Skyline, I think usually they have badging at the back. This car looks like it's been debadged. It would have had the word Skyline across the boot lid there, and in fact it might have had the 350 GT written there. So it's obviously got the 3.5 litre V6 engine under the bonnet, naturally aspirated from the Nissan 350Z. Produces about 270 horsepower, so it's pretty good power. It's rear-wheel drive as well, which I think is so bloody cool. But the Nissan Skyline brand, let's quickly touch on that. So I suppose the Skylines that us lot are familiar with are like the R31, the R32, the R33, the R34, and then it changed. It then went to the R35, but the R35 was of course just called the Nissan GTR. It wasn't called a Skyline GTR. They then brought out this car here, the 11th generation Nissan Skyline. This was not called the R35, I think it's called a VQ35, that's probably the engine. I don't know, but it just became a family car essentially, with a sporty engine under the bonnet, all right? So the R35 will now become the R36 when the new one comes out, but this is just a Nissan Skyline. They didn't do a GTR or anything in this generation, so this was basically as good as they got when they made the Skyline in this generation. I hope you're with me, all right? So yeah, pretty cool car, man. Definitely not as iconic as your usual Skyline, but it's luxury, it's comfortable. So hold on, let's quickly do a quick hashtag key check. There we go, look, it's basically a Nissan GTR key. Pretty cool, isn't it? And it's completely keyless as well, so you tap the button there. Look at that inside. So it's got an automatic gearbox as well with flappy paddles behind the steering wheel. I've not yet driven this car, so I am looking forward to driving it. It's apparently done about 112,000 miles. We'll double check the odometer reading shortly. It's got a horrible tear in the seat there, but other than that, it's worn pretty good. Sort of a mixture of leather and cloth seats. And the texture on the seats, that sort of replicates into the floor mats, which I think is quite cool. They're quite nice floor mats. Got loads of space in the rear as well. Big back seats. Look, again, look at them carpets, man. Look at that. I love that. It's very, very comfy, and I think that's obviously what this car was sort of aimed to be. More of a comfy car, but it's wicked that they put that engine under the bonnet. Should we quickly pop the bonnet and have a little look under there as well? Look at that, man. For me, like, I just think this is wicked. It's so unique looking. Even them wheels, it's got these 18-inch sort of deep dish alloy wheels. I feel like the front tyres are probably a bit wrong for the car. What profile are they? 225 50 18s. Maybe they should be 40 18s. I don't know. They look a bit chunky on the front, but the rears are looking lovely. Look how good them rear wheels are looking. But yeah, under the bonnet, there's the engine, naturally aspirated. It's a V6 engine, super reliable, sounds unbelievable. I think this car's actually been decatted as well, so we'll start it shortly and show you what it sounds like. Honestly, sounds incredible. For a four-door family saloon, this is the sort of thing that I love. I love cars that serve good purposes. and I love a good value for money car. So let's quickly pop the boot and may as well show you what the crack is with the boot. Even the chrome, little chrome touches, that's so Jap, isn't it? It just looks, if you want to look gangster on a budget, I think that car looks proper gangster, doesn't it? Look at that with the gold and silver rims as well. The rims. Little reverse camera on the rear there. I just mentioned the spoiler. In fact, I need to get the key back out to open the boot. In fact, before we open the boot, let's just admire that rear end. Right, let's press and hold that. Get that boot lid open. Look at that. Bottle of Evian there. Got the cameras ready to roll. So we're going to be going out for a drive shortly. But yeah, big boot. Practical, isn't it? It's apparently been registered as the cheaper road tax version as well. I think in 2007 road tax for this sort of thing would have been about 500 quid a year here in the UK, but I think this is the cheaper option. It's about 260, 270 quid a year. So pretty good as well, and it's ULEZ compliant as well, which is very, very good. So the Japanese handbooks on the passenger seat there, just little things like, I keep noticing things like the Japanese writing there on that sticker. Look at that. It's just all character, isn't it? So let's just jump in. Should we start the engine? Should we do that bit now? Listen to this. Bloody hell, that is noisy, isn't it? Very, very noisy on cold start. I'll let it get warm before I give it any revs. But yeah, the mileage is showing 192,000, which is obviously kilometres. So I think that's in the region of about 120,000 miles. So camera focus. You can see as well the Japanese writing. I'm sure you can get all this coded to suit the UK market. Obviously it's not been done on this car yet. Even all the Japanese buttons up here. I love all this. I love all this character that it's got. It's even got the flare down the bottom there in the passenger footwell that every Japanese, it must be a legal requirement in Japan for you to have that. So that's cool to see that as well. And the interior generally is really tidy in here. Nice comfortable interior as well. It's a lovely place to sit. Nice big padded armrest there. And yeah, it's all very, very nice. I wish it had a sunroof. It'd be wicked if it had a sunroof. It's a proper cruiser, isn't it? I'm curious to see what this gearbox is going to be like as well shortly. There we go. Into drive. Reverse camera as well. Check that out. Look at that. It's got it all, this car. So yeah, we'll let it get warm. I'll throw a camera up in the window, quickly go through HPI, then we'll hit the road, yeah? That's it, the aircon works. Nice and cool in here. I love the look of this car. I think that's what I really like about it. I know it's unique, you know, you don't see them very often, but I love a four-door saloon Japanese car. I think I had the, what was it, the FD2 Civic Type R a few years back. That was such a cool car. I love that, man. I just love it that it was sort of a big four-door saloon, but it was lightweight. This ain't actually that lightweight. It's about 1,600 kilos. I've got a delivery driver that's gonna want my attention now, Sharon. Yeah. You right there, mate? You looking for something?
Yeah, the carpet, please. I'm gonna give them a call.
Yeah, give him a call. All right, mate. Cheers, mate. Customer there as well, looking at a little Peugeot. Guessing that's for his daughter. What was I saying? I don't know. I just like it because it's unique and it's less than £5 grand. So let's quickly look at HPI. There's not really much to report on HPI because it doesn't hold much info because it's a it's obviously an import. Here we go then, MH07HGP, MOT details in red. It's just saying it's due an MOT at the end of September, so that's pretty good. It's supposedly decatted. I don't know if it is decatted. It doesn't sound like it. It does sound bloody good though. Shall I give it a couple of little revs just see, just demonstrate the sound. Either way, it sounds bloody brilliant. Whether it's decatted or not, I'm not sure, but it sounds unbelievable. All registers are clear, so it's HPI clear, which is pretty good. Not been any accidents or nothing like that. Details on, like DVLA details on imported cars are usually very brief. It just says Nissan there, yeah? We obviously know it's a Nissan Skyline. You can see that by looking at it. Nissan Saloon, former Keepers 1. Obviously, that's UK only. We've got loads of Japanese history here for it, which is pretty cool. Can't read any of it because it's in Japanese, but it's there if you want to see it. It's colour black, first registered in the UK, December 2020. 3.5 litre VQ35 engine, all right? So that's all pretty basic stuff. HPI spec check, can't do that because it won't have the details. National mileage register, it actually shows it's clear, like it's not been clocked or anything. Usually on a car that's got kilometres and not miles, it gets a bit complicated and it just flags up as it's been clocked, but it hasn't. But in this case, it's all clear anyway, so that's irrelevant. It's got no market values, no cap valuations, no other data really here at all, because, like I keep saying, this lorry's going to want to get in there now, isn't it? And there's a customer there just looking at a car. But if we quickly jump onto Auto Trader and literally go Nissan Skyline, click search from low to high, if you want one of these 11th gens, there isn't a single saloon other than this one. There's actually only 3 in total advertised for sale, and the other 2 are coupes. In fact, I did wonder if this is a facelift, because if you look at this coupe here, it's got like an older dash layout, and even the steering wheel's slightly different. So this has got a more modern steering wheel, which is pretty cool, and yeah, it's a bit more modern here as well. But yeah, there's our one there at £4,500, less than £5,000. What a car for the money. Japanese stuff's good news at the minute as well, so it's pretty cool. Let's just hit the road, get out of everyone's way, and see how fast it is, and hope that it does 70 miles an hour so we can do draggy time as well, all right? Because I want to see how it compares to some of the other cars on the leaderboard, all right? Let's go. Do you know, I was literally about to put away, yeah, and I'm just looking at the stereo because I was just wondering if any of it even works. I guess not, because it's probably all set up to be tuned to like Japanese aerials. But I pressed this top button in the top right hand corner. It must have a camera underneath that wing mirror. It looks down at the curb, so it's like a to prevent you from curbing your wheels camera. Doesn't have 360 cameras. It's literally just that one by the looks of things, because I'm pressing all the other buttons and I'm not getting any cameras available in any other corners, but just that one. But I've never ever seen that in a car. Obviously you see 360-degree cameras on later BMWs and stuff, but just that one camera on an old car like this, I think that's quite impressive, man. That adds to the character. So let's that's not the indicator count, that's the wipers. Put the indicator on, pull out the yard, and see what this thing drives like. Sounds unbelievable. Let's put it in manual mode. Very slow on the downshifts there. Bloody pulls alright though, doesn't it? Oh, front end's lifted up. Feels heavier. I did mention it's 1,600 kilos, so it ain't light by any means, but traction control light flicker in there. It's sitting really low. It does feel really low. Despite I can't say it feels uncomfortably low. Like, it feels pretty good. We'll do the ultimate test shortly on the bumpy road, but yeah, it feels really low to the ground, which is quite cool. Gearbox is nice. Oh, that's the wipers. I will get the hang of that by the end of this video. I'm sure, no doubt, throughout this video I will put the wipers on a few more times. This is the bumpy road now. I'm going to avoid that bump there. That one's horrible. Back wheel scraped a little bit there. Nothing too bad. Sitting nice and soft. I don't know how bad that camera's rocking around. Don't look like it's rocking around too much though. I actually need to work out how to turn traction control off, because is that it there? It keeps kicking it. Oh, there we go, that's better. Little bit of back end slide there. It feels like it doesn't have an LSD because it's sort of the diff opened a little bit there. This is a wicked car, absolutely wicked. And I think, like I just said, there's a lot to be said for Japanese residuals at the minute. They seem to have gone up a lot. I'm not saying that this is one of an example of a car that's going to fly up in value, because it's not a GTR, it's not a Type R, you know, it's not the top dollar. I suppose it kind of is, but these particular Skylines ain't the go-to Skylines, let's face it. But still a very cool car, man. It's still an interesting thing. And the reason why this sort of piped up in conversation today, this car, because I didn't actually know that it came in. I knew it was coming in, but it completely went out of my mind. I was just talking to a customer about a Japanese car show this weekend, and he's like, "Cal, you must have something Japanese you can bring." I'm like, "I must have." And I walked out into the yard, and I was like, "Do you know what? We've got this bloody 350Z thing that it's got 4 doors. I need to look at that. And I looked at it, I need to do a video on that car. So I got proper excited about it, quickly pulled it out, and here I am doing a video on it. I don't even know if I'm going to go to the Japanese car show. I don't care about that. I just saw it and I thought, I need to drive that car. By the way, it's got electric seats as well. It feels like quite a luxurious car. I think the idea of this car was to sort of enter into the Infinity market, which is also a Nissan brand. I just done the wipers again. So maybe the purpose was to, you know, offer a luxurious saloon car, you know, make it a family car, and they've done a bloody good job. And here we are in England. That was sick! Do you know what? I said it felt like it had an open diff, but that just slid like it has, like it's got an LSD. And here we are in England. That was sick! We were sideways, man. There must be some nice tyre marks. If you're a police officer and you're watching, that was completely unintentional. Blame the car, not the driver. I don't know. That was wicked, man. So we are now. That's the wipers. We are now going to work out if this car does 70 mile an hour. Wipers are on. Looks like we should be okay. All right. Should just about be okay to hit 70. All right. So I'm not getting the hang of these wipers. Let's do draggy time and see how it compares to all the other cars on the leaderboard, yeah? Right, ready? 3, 2, 1. I love it that the back end is lighting up. Literally love that, man. Run number 1, 6.04 seconds, man. That's pretty good. Let me do a couple more runs and see if we can. Oh, we can definitely beat that. We'll definitely beat that. 6.04, first run done. Let's give it another go. 3, 2, 1, come on. Love a real drive car. I don't think that's doing us any favours with draggy times though. 5.75 seconds. I'm going to do one more run off cam and I'll come back to you in a second and let you know if I beat it. Do you know what? This is such a wicked car, man. I am so impressed with it. So I've done a third run. It actually done it in 6.02 seconds on the third run. So that was not the fastest one in the lot. It done it in 5.75. That was the second run. That was the fastest run of all. And that, if you look at the Draggy leaderboard, that compares, or it's right next to, a 435DX driver. I absolutely rate 435Ds, man. They're wicked cars. They're, what are they, about 310 horsepower. But it's a 3-litre, 6-cylinder, twin turbocharged diesel engine. Like, they're super torquey and they're an impressive thing to drive. So I am quite impressed with it for an old Japanese car. I love the way it looks. I'm so impressed with, like, the gearbox. I say the downshifts are quite sluggish, but the upshifts are really nice. So obviously we're on a sensible road now, so we must drive sensibly. Listen to that. Listen to how it sounds the part. It looks the part. It's going to need a bit of fuel soon, so I've got to take it easy, but I am, yeah, absolutely loving it. I think the rear-wheel drive thing as well, the way that, you know, listen to them downshifts. Listen to them downshifts. The way that I come out of that bend earlier, like, it took me by surprise, I'll be honest with you. It didn't light up then. I was expecting it to put on a bit of a show, but it didn't. But never mind. I think even as a drift car, you can't really buy much of a drift car nowadays for less than $5,000 full stop. So you've got a car here that's daily drivable. It's fun, it's different, it's unique, and yeah, it does a lot, doesn't it? So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video. It's been an interesting one. I've enjoyed it. Hit like if you like the video, hit subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.